To Sales is Not a Dirty Word, the show that proves if it's a fit, it's a fact. I'm your host, innovative sales coach Aleasha Bahr, and the creator of the Black Sheep Sales Method. If you're a service provider selling your own service and you're ready to sell differently than the mainstream status quo to convert 8 out of 10 sales conversations without feeling like a douchebag while you do it, then this is for you. If you want to know more about the Black Sheep Sales Method, then go to aleashabarr.com. This episode is with Marta Greca. Marta is the CEO of Media, the creative agency. Her expertise in marketing has earned her recognition as Woman Business Leader of the Year and author of the bestseller, The Minimalist Method. With over a decade of experience, Marta helps holistic wellness and beauty experts achieve financial success while transforming lives. She's been featured in national media outlets like KDKA and WPXI and is fluent in Italian and French, proud of her immigrant roots. Marta's passion lies in empowering clients to pursue their passions by freeing them from mundane tasks. She's always eager to share her expertise internationally and speak at events. As a devoted family person with 7 children, Marta finds joy in being present. Let's go! Welcome to the big show. Sales is not a dirty word.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited you're here. And one of the things that I loved so much about Marta, you guys, is that she does not let being a mother of 7, which is a lot, define her, and is able to run her own business and doesn't have any compromises in her life around that. And I know as a mother of 2, I mean, I have the same approach. And I know a lot of other mothers who struggle with having that balance in their life. And so if somebody can do it with 7, it's inspiring that someone can do it with 2. So, Marta, was it always like this for you?
No, I think we all have our come to Jesus moments with our businesses, right? Where you hit the wall and you're like, what am I doing? For me, that was about 7 years ago when my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and all of a sudden, all me saying yes to the volunteer, yes to the thing for trade, yes to the thing doing it as a discount because of the fear of the missed opportunity. All of
Mm,
a sudden, it was easy to say, no, I'm going to go to the oncologist with my mom. No, I'm going to like hang out with my mom. Right. And so I hope it doesn't take that for other people, but that was like my moment of, oh, no, I don't have to say yes to everything. And you would think ironically, but of course, not ironically, that's when the business really expanded. When I started to say no to the things that really didn't serve the business, my family, my purpose, the world. You're just saying that yes because you're afraid of saying no.
yeah, boundaries always make you more money. It's something that I have found as well. And like, did you, when you first had your babies, did you feel like you wanted to just be their mom and like that's it? Or was
I
it always easy for you to say, I'm more than a mom?
I think yes, because I actually had my first when I was in college, and I had him my senior year of college, and I think like 3 weeks later I went back to class because I was like 20, and you
Oh
can do that
god.
when you're 20 years old. You can't really do that now.
Oh no.
I can't see myself doing that now, but and I chose, even though I graduated and I got the degree and went on job interviews, I actually chose to run an ice cream shop because they that I had worked with and for since I was 15, because they let me take the babies to work with me. So I would like strap them to my body and like make gelato and ring people up and scoop ice cream and make pies, and I'd have babies like literally strapped like to the front and back of me and like running around.
That's incredible and also really cool owners.
Yeah, they're awesome. So grateful for them.
Yeah, how did you transition out of the ice cream shop?
I started to use my degree to promote the ice cream shop, and it's the hardest thing ever to sell ice cream when you're in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We have rain and snow at least 6 months out of the year. We were in the red at least 6 months out of the year. So when the opportunity of the warmth and the actual demand for the ice cream would come, I had to get really creative. So I'd have all these events and I'd use my PR and my marketing skills that I learned in college and my photography, my videography and advertising and everything to promote the ice cream shop. And then that transitioned to me starting to do that. Actually started out with doing like family photography and wedding videography, and then utilizing my marketing and PR skills for other small businesses. And then I was able to transition out at baby number 4.
Transition out of the ice cream shop?
Yeah, we actually paid off my student loans by the time we had baby number 4, which was like, I can't do the math right now, but maybe like at 5 years after I graduated from college. And then at that time, we were like, I think it's time we no longer had those student loans. And, then it came time to take on the business loans, but that's a whole other story.
Well, that's incredible that you paid off student loans in 5
Yeah.
years. Yeah, you guys must be, like, very I mean, I think everybody's thinking, like, disciplined to do that. It's just, like, this idea one of the things that I love about the message that you have is that you can have it all without compromising, and that seems like a good example of it, You're able to do all of these things like pay off student loans in 5 years while working at an ice cream shop with babies on you, and you didn't feel, like, burnt out.
Well, that at that point, yeah, I felt I felt pretty burnt out. It was actually like once I started the business, and like a couple after years after that, that I learned my signature minimalist method. I think at that point I was just like in my 20s and doing everything I could to provide for my family. And there's a whole different like long story with my marriage, and my husband and I have been together all along, but such a different relationship back then. But yeah, that come to Jesus moment didn't come until like I started my business.
Okay. So, was the come to Jesus moment something that, like, your husband brought to your attention or you realized?
No, I think God brought it to my attention. I had like in both. There's been a couple times in life, and maybe you've had the same experience, and those listening, where you don't even know where that clarity comes from, but you have no other explanation. But that was divine intervention. Nobody taught me that. Nobody told me that. Maybe I did hear it secondhandedly long enough from somewhere that I can't quite pinpoint, that I finally got the message. But I feel like it was God. Like God was telling me, here, do this. And then obviously the teacher arrived. I met Joy Buffalini, which is how you and I
Yeah.
connect. I just started seeing her stuff, signed on to, business coaching, and that's, where I learned to minimalize down.
Joy is fantastic at
Yeah.
minimalizing and, like, not
Yeah.
having tons of, meetings every day and
Yeah.
all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, she
Yeah.
is really great at that. So, that's so inspiring to hear that you were able to start a business while having 4 children.
Yeah.
I think a lot
And
of
working full time. I was working full time, running the ice cream shop. The owners were wonderful, but they also like maybe I saw them once a year, which was it was beautiful. Like I am never ever gonna criticize that or say that if anybody would ever hear that and think that I'm saying it in a negative light. It was like awesome. Like I basically had my own business, which was an ice cream shop, because they had other jobs and they'd inherited this ice cream shop. And so they allowed me to do what I needed to do, which was awesome.
Yeah, someone else was telling me that they had that experience with a boutique. They were like, "The owners just let me do whatever. I basically ran that thing." And every time I hear that, I'm like, "Where is my Marta?" Like, I want somebody to come in and run it all, but I still make money. Like, that sounds amazing. It's so hard to find somebody who's that driven and hardworking and smart and on it and who, like, appreciates the opportunity. Like, that is not easy to find.
Yeah, I think the one time there was even like an article that named me as the owner, and the owners and I just kind of chuckled together. I'm like, I swear I didn't tell them I was the owner. I think they just thought I was.
Yeah. So, I mean, when did you always feel like you had like one of the things that I'm really passionate about is that I have multiple identities, I'm not just a business owner, I'm not just a mom, I'm not just a friend, I'm not just a wife, and it can be really hard for people to kind of like give those different sides of themselves the space and love that they need. Was I mean, I can't imagine that you had a lot of time for yourself when you were doing the ice cream shop and all of that stuff. So, like, when did you start sort of giving each of the sides of yourself the space?
Yeah, the back then I was like definitely the cliche of like drink as much coffee as you can during the day to get through it, and then drink as much wine as you can at night to get through it. It was not good. And I would say just whenever I had that realization with the like say no to this doesn't light me up. No, I don't need to be doing things on discount. And I think there maybe is a part of your business when you're first starting out where yeah, there are good opportunities to get visibility that maybe you do something for free or as a trade or volunteer work or donations. But like at the level that I was doing it, it was like 90% of the business. And a lot of the projects were actually costing me money
Oh
that
my
I was
God.
doing stuff on. And it was whenever I had that realization to no longer do that, that I started to block off certain days of the week where, and I mentioned the relationship with with my husband, like I was the typical, like I didn't ask him to do anything, but then I resented him for not doing anything, which isn't true, right? That's an absolute and a clearly isn't true. But at that time, that I'd be like, these are the days that I'm gonna just you're gonna be with the kids, and I'm gonna work on business because he's an entrepreneur as well, so he's always had time freedom as well.
Yeah, we talked about this some before, how, the classic female, I mean, we've been taught that like to need stuff or to ask for things is needy
Hmm.
and desperate and so like we're supposed to be endlessly resourceful and generous, and that's like what a good female example is that we've seen.
Yeah,
And so as a result, it comes out in this like super passive aggressive way where we're
yeah.
like, oh, it'd be nice if you did something once in a while. And it's like nobody wants to help. And also, like,
Help you
also,
if you talk about that.
well, also, it's still not a direct ask. Like,
Yeah,
so it's very easy to ignore and just say, wow, you're in a bad mood. And they still
yeah,
don't do the thing that you wish that they would do. So I know this is something that like females struggle with because we've been taught that we're like kind of not allowed to.
yeah. And then I think there's also we go down the rabbit hole of relationship, but I think plays a big part in entrepreneurship. Like the marriage plays a big role in entrepreneurship. And so it's also really good to look at where did your partner come from and where did you come from? My dad was super involved, just super there. My mom was more like the one who called the shots and ran the show, and my dad was just, there. Whereas he had a different upbringing where his mom was a stay at home mom, and both my parents worked, and she did it all. She did everything. And so,
So
I love
incredible.
his dad. He's an amazing pap, like incredible human being. But that was just the relationship that was there. Like, so he grew up seeing his mom doing it all and being there and being everything while the dad worked and had a career, right? And I grew up very differently. So we had these two different upbringings with two different images of what a marriage looked like and then come together. And so it really is like quite the journey of two individuals who are entrepreneurs to come together for a joint vision and kind of get over their stuff and their stories and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's any marriage. Like honestly, if you could cover things before marriage, like it would be like, what was your parents' marriage like?
I know, and we are Catholic. We did pre-canon. I don't remember that being a conversation in one of the any of the millions of mandatory classes they had us take.
Yeah, like what do you do with finances is another
Yeah,
one. What are your
yeah, that
money?
was one. I think
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know, there's a lot of money stories that people have and like function very differently in a marriage. But yeah, it's like sharing a life with somebody. So and there's just so much nuance to it. And I heard this term recently that is so accurate. There's a lot of married single mothers.
Yeah. And I remember I would actually say that to my husband all the time. I'd be like, I'm like a single mom. I'm basically like a single mom. I'm a single mom. I'm a single mom. And he'd be like, no, you're not. you know,
Yeah.
Obviously, like, how great of a communication was that? Not great, right? Like, that's not how you get somebody to want to be active in your life by continuing to tell them how inactive they are.
Yeah, and it probably makes them feel like minimized and invalidated and like the thing that I was talking to you about that book Unbound that I love so much, and they make the point that like asking gives somebody a powerful role in your life.
Yeah.
So like your husband would like to be able to save the day and do something that's going to make everybody happy and feel satisfied that you asked for this thing and they did it and it's complete and there's like a satisfaction in that. And
Yeah.
it's like beyond just asking, can you clean out the dishwasher this one time? It's like, can you clean out the dishwasher Monday, Wednesday, Fridays of
Right.
every week?
Right.
You
Right.
know?
There's actually psychology behind that. I don't know if you've ever heard that in terms of politicians. That's actually one of their strategies to create relationships with those that they want to leverage
Mm.
those relationships with, that they will ask them for favors purposely. There's a
Mm.
psychological element behind that that helps people feel closer to you.
How interesting.
I
Yeah,
know.
like, I think every human just loves certainty, you know? And when it's just very clear, then there's a confidence and a comfort in that, like, in the clarity, but just having somebody be in a bad mood, you're like, "I don't know. I don't know, like, what do I do to make this better? I can guess." Like, and a lot of times women don't even know what they want in order for them to make it better because we've been suppressing what we want for so long. And
Yeah.
it's crazy how much people, like, don't know specifically what they want beyond, like, making more money and losing some weight.
Right. Yeah, no, that's totally true. But I will happily report that this past Mother's Day I very specifically asked, I want to be in bed as much as possible and do as little as possible. I want to be fed, I want to be watered, I want to be caffeinated at appropriate times. And that's what's happening. And that's what happened. It was wonderful. I had like this massive spread brought to me at my bed. And when I did try to like, oh, do you need help with that? Are you struggling with that? My husband would be like, nope, go back to bed. I got this. You know, it was great.
Ah, I love that, and I bet he loved giving it to you, you know?
Great. Yeah. He even took the kids out to lunch with his dad and his mom, and and she knows, like, I love her dearly. She's like, she knows, Marta, Mother's Day, that's one day that she's in bed all day. I get it. So it was good.
I gotta know, how do you transport 7 children?
I mean, I feel like I should start a sponsorship for the Honda Pilot, but for children, they do fit with my husband. But 7 children, we still have plans to use the Honda Pilot. There's actually very minimal times that we go out as a family. We typically like to just
Oh,
bring everyone over to us. And when we do go out as a family, we drive separately anyways, because I have to pick up my dad from and to include him anyway. So we end up driving separately anyway. So we didn't see a need to get the big vehicle that everybody talks about just
there's an
yet.
even bigger one than the Honda Pilot?
Yeah, there's I don't know what they're called, but we our kids go to Catholic schools, so there's other families that are
Ugh,
large and they've got like the big caravan. I don't remember what it's called, but it seats like an insane amount of people. And actually, our relatives in Italy, they've got big families and they've got like the big, I don't know what it's called, but it's huge. I don't
wow.
have a need for that yet. I don't feel like I think I can get away without it.
If you can, I would. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Um,
Park it.
so yeah. So, like, you see moms who are business owners and they're, like, burnt out. What shifts did you make? Was it just asking your husband, like, "Okay, you're gonna watch the kids these days?" Or was there, like, other shifts that have really made a difference in you kind of reclaiming your identity and not doing it all?
I think that was a big one, and understanding that you're not going to get a hell yes from the people you ask help for if they aren't used to you asking for help.
Hmm.
So I think a big one is that us women, like, so we don't ask for help, and then when we do ask for help, we feel like that it's like pulling teeth, or it's not done right, or there's
Mm,
reluctance, and you might as well not even ask if the other people aren't going to want to help, blah 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 blah, right?
yeah.
But there's that need to be persistent with the asking for help, and asking for help even if you kind of know that it might inconvenience the other person, but you won't know until you ask them. And if it's a no, it's a no. There's been, I think the one time my mother-in-law, again, is an angel, and Tuesdays she'll have the kids during the school year. She has the one baby during the summer. She has all the kids Tuesdays. It's her day. I remember when we first got the dog, I'm like, I'm just gonna ask, can the dog come too? She's like, that's a little much. Okay, understood. So then it's also understanding that, yes, ask with love, ask with persistence when you really need something, but continue on that path of positivity rather than like resentment and judgment if you're going to get resistance at first and then kind of quitting. Until just continue to ask, continue to ask, continue to ask. And that's actually the case for my marketing agency too. We do some PR for our clients, and it's not easy to get them on certain spots on
Yeah.
TV. So I have to just keep asking, and they'll say they're full, and I have to change the angle, and I have to maybe ask the other producer that I have a relationship with.
Mm,
And I'm sure you would agree the same thing with sales. Like I've had clients who it's been a no to begin with, but I just kind of continue to be in their world and not ask. And like you get those cold emails that's like, here's this thing that you never even said you needed. And by
right.
the way, did you get my email about that thing that you never said you needed? It's a different relationship than that, right? It's a different conversation. You're just continuing to show up in their world and letting them know that you're available and not taking it personally when it's a no. Just continue to ask.
Yeah, this was something we talked about before too, and it is something I work on in sales. Like, it's not personal at all. And
Right.
women are often so scared of hearing a no that they don't ask, which is crazy to miss on all the opportunity because it might be a no. And
Right.
just because it's a no at first doesn't mean it's a no, period. Like, you refine what you're asking. Like, you get curious, right? So in objections, you get curious. So yeah, like, is it, the investment? Is it the time? Is it the day? Is it, what can we do that would be a win-win? It's really about, collaboratively discussing what could be a win-win and realizing that I think it's just so easy for it to be like, it's me, and it's not. It's like in that book Unbound, she basically says that when you encounter resistance, they're protecting something important to them, and so it's exciting to find out what that is,
Right.
which was an
Right.
interesting way of putting it. But like, once you have that information, you're able to make better asks. Like, maybe your husband's favorite thing that he loves is his coffee in the morning. And if you
Right.
know that, then the ask you can make is like, and in exchange, I'll get you your favorite coffee in the morning. And you know that that's like his hot button. It's like, you would
And
never know that if you didn't.
understanding
Yeah.
too, right? Yeah, and understanding too that people have different ways to process, right? There's the person who will jump at the opportunity. There's the person who needs to think about it. There's the person who needs to have all of the information. There's the person that, there's different personalities. And what's funny is my daughter's 15th birthday just came up, and just kind of as a joke, like she kept asking, can I get my eyebrow pierced? And I was like, I don't think so, babe. And I'm like, okay, yeah, ask daddy. And she knew, like, ask daddy. We were just kind of joking around, like, he's going to say no to that. But how she went about it was like the completely wrong way for someone who's like my husband, who needs to take his time. He needs to feel like he has his information. He does not deal well with something just being thrown upon him.
Mm.
And so she texted him, and she said something like, okay, we're getting my eyebrow pierced, okay. Like, that is the complete opposite of how, if you were serious about this, that you would go about it, with someone like my husband, who's very methodical and considerate, right? And so you have to think about that with your clients too, and kind of take a look at how they process things. Would you say you agree or disagree with that, with your sales
Oh,
process?
absolutely. I mean, people are different. Everybody, that's why sales scripts don't work, because
Right.
the most unpredictable thing in life are humans, and there's two of them in a sales conversation, and you don't know if they're having it, on top of them having different personalities. You don't know if they're having a bad day, a good day, what happened, which totally affects the way that they're hearing and responding to. Context is so important to have a successful conversation. Some people want more rapport. Some people want you to get right to the point, and being able to read those signs on a nonverbal and verbal level is going to make all the difference. And it's really just about thinking about the other person, which in any ask in a relationship or of your kids, it's like, what is in it for them? How can I make this comfortable for them? And then you're
Right.
more likely to get whatever you're asking for.
Right. Yeah. So my teenage son is really good at that. Like, it's kind of, it's still, again, we joke around. I love our teenagers. They're so much fun. But anytime he wants to go somewhere, if he's trying to appeal to my husband, which is going to sound terrible, he's like, there's gonna be this girl there that I really like. For whatever reason, he thinks that my husband wants to know that he has game and
Eh,
he's gonna have a girl. Like, and I don't know how this ever even started, but we noticed that when he asked my husband, he's like, "There's just this girl that I really want to hang out with." But whenever it's with me, it's like more on the appeal on like the emotional side of how it's going to support like his mental health and his psyche. And,
eh.
you know,
Smart
so it's just
kid.
funny like how he does it, and we joke about it, and he's very well aware of it, and we're like, okay, yeah, way to pull that one out.
I don't think that sounds bad at all. So, like, that sounds like he's smart. The
Yeah,
only role, I mean, not the only, but one of the biggest things that kids are trying to figure out is how to get what they want out of life. And so,
yeah,
their ability to be creative in that approach is a sign
yeah.
of intelligence, in my opinion. Like, if
Oh
you
yeah,
don't,
I think he's super smart. So
yeah, and like, I don't know, people get really upset that, like, my husband will get upset that my daughter lied about something, and I'm like, I would be concerned if she never tried to lie. I don't know. Like, I feel like you're
yeah.
really, like, if you never try, like, what's wrong with you? You gotta try.
Exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
See,
absolutely.
see what
I always
works.
tell my kids, like, even if you think I'm gonna say no, like, ask. Even if you think I'm tired or I'm in a bad mood or you've already kind of like crossed the line because you've done XYZ, still ask. What's the worst that I could do is say no. I'm not gonna punish you for asking.
True.
Unless I've said, don't ask me again.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty explicit. You
Yeah.
can't confuse that. Okay, so that's a good stopping point for us. And so we've reached the end of yet another episode of Sales is Not a Dirty Word. And to recap, it's about keeping it minimal, being clear with what you want, and asking for it in a way that appeals to the other person in your life. And that definitely applies to sales and marketing, which Marta has an incredible agency that gets results without being overwhelming. So thank you again for being a guest today. And can you tell everyone how they could find out more about you and how they could work with you?
Yeah, for all the things, if you go on Instagram and look for my name, Marta Greca, I'm sure it's in the show notes or whatnot. My Instagram is the best way for you to find out about my show and our online magazine and all the different brands that I get to work with as well, that I get to promote through my content creation services.
And Marta has such a great, I love your Instagram. It's so like positive and fun and funny. And it's like, I mean, you got to be able to laugh at life,
Oh, yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you got it.
So thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.